Hey, my name is Olivia. It's going to be my pleasure to be your guide through this series of modules on NHS continuing healthcare funding. The purpose of this learning resource is to help people with spinal injuries like us to secure or retain an NHS-funded care package that supports our personal health and social care needs. Today I'll be talking about the difference between NHS continuing healthcare and local authority funding and how that might affect you. There are two sources of government funding for care, either local authority funding, known as social care, or that from the NHS, known as NHS Continuing Healthcare, sometimes shortened to CHC. Your care will be paid for by your local authority, the council, if it is judged to be a social care need. But if most of your care needs are judged to be healthcare related, then by law the NHS must pick up the bill through NHS Continuing Healthcare. Unfortunately, there is no clear definition of the difference between health and social care need. Broadly speaking, if your care needs are related to activities of daily living, maintaining independence, social interaction, or participating in society, then they are likely to be social care needs. On the other hand, a healthcare need is associated with the treatment, control, or prevention of a disease, illness, injury, or disability. So, for example, if you say you are thirsty and need a drink, then this would be interpreted as a social need. But if you explain that this same drink is to keep up your fluid levels so you maintain a healthy kidney function, or to reduce your chance of urinary tract infections, then the drink could now be interpreted as a health need and may help to qualify you for NHS continuing healthcare. Who pays for your care will be determined by an assessment process designed to identify whether your primary need is for health or social care. We'll look at the assessment in more detail in the next chapter. Why does it matter who pays your care? Probably the most significant reason is that social care from your local authority is means tested. If you have assets worth over £23,250, you are unlikely to receive any financial support from your local authority. In addition, if you have a high income from a pension, it may reduce the amount of support you receive. You may want to speak to your social services about their local means testing policies, as these can vary across the country. However, the law has established a limit to the level of healthcare that the local authority is allowed to provide. If the health element of your overall care need goes beyond this legal limit, then all your care must be provided and paid for by the NHS. If you are found to be eligible for NHS continuing healthcare, you will not have to make a financial contribution, irrespective of your income or savings, because NHS continuing healthcare is not means tested. Helpfully, for those of us with spinal cord injuries, one of the key court cases which help define when somebody should be eligible for NHS continuing healthcare involved a lady called Pamela Coughlin, who is spinal cord injured. Be sure to check out her video. Pamela has a C5-6 complete lesion, and in taking the NHS to court, she helped to clarify the lawful limit of social care provision. Her case also confirmed that NHS continuing healthcare can be provided either in your own home or a nursing home. But what exactly is NHS continuing healthcare? NHS continuing healthcare, or CHC, is the name given to a package of care that is arranged and funded solely by the NHS for an individual who is not in hospital and who has complex ongoing healthcare needs to such an extent that they can be described as having a primary health need. If you are assessed as having a primary health need, then the part of the NHS that will fund your care is the CCG, or Clinical Commissioning Group, of which your GP is a member. You can find out which CCG this is by clicking on the link below. So, to qualify for NHS continuing healthcare, you must demonstrate that you have what is known as a primary health need. In very simple terms, a person has a primary health need if, after taking account all their care needs, it can be said that the main part of the care they require is to address and prevent health problems. Whether you have a primary health need is established through an assessment process, which we'll be discussing in the next chapter. If you are newly injured and in an NHS hospital, this assessment should be carried out before your discharge. If, however, you are living in the community, an assessment may be prompted by a review of your care needs/funding by a local authority's social services department. An NHS continuing healthcare assessment can also be requested by you via your GP, district nurse or social worker. If you are assessed as being eligible for NHS continuing healthcare, it does not mean that you will automatically receive 24-hour care. Your CCG has discretion when deciding on the package of care that they offer you, providing that they demonstrate what they are offering you is sufficient to meet all your assessed care needs. If you are assessed as not having a primary health need, but having significant health elements to your care need, you may be offered a joint funding package. This will mean part of your funding will come from the CCG and part from the local authority. The local authority part of your care package will of course be subjected to the same means testing. Because of what the court said in the Pamela Coughlin judgment, the Spinal Injuries Association believes that anyone with a complete tetraplegic lesion of C5 or above should be eligible for NHS continuing healthcare. However, incomplete tetraplegics or those with a lower level of injury may well also be eligible for NHS continuing healthcare, depending on their individual circumstances. So, now you understand the important legal difference between social care and NHS continuing healthcare. Be sure to check out our next video where I will take you through the assessment process. Bye for now.